All right, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Non-Victimation Podcast. And today I have a good friend of mine, Pete Rivera, who is a firearms instructor, a Star Wars aficionado,
Mm.
and a damn good-looking guy.
I love it. I love it. Hey, yeah, buddy. How are you doing?
Absolutely
Awesome,
awesome.
awesome. Excited to be here. Actually, very, very excited. So,
Well, yeah, I
yeah,
figured it was past time that you'd be a guest on the show, so
yeah,
I'll
heck,
have you on and
yeah,
talk some.
yeah.
So kind of as per usual, would figure we'd start with like a little bit of your background and
Mhm.
kind of like how you got to be where we are now.
Yeah. We'll start this out as a young man growing up in Hollywood, California. So I grew up in Hollywood, California. I was born there. Um, Literally, my grandparents were 3 blocks from Hollywood Boulevard. Aunt worked at Chinese Man Theater. My mom worked at the Hollywood Bank of Hollywood, right across the street from Man's Chinese Theater.
Right.
Um, So I lived there for a while till moved to Arizona, joined the Marine Corps. Uh, Loved it. Spent 5 years traveling, doing a bunch of stuff, working on some cool planes, and then yeah, got out, kind of roamed around, kind of like kung fu a little bit. So it was great. I was spreading my knowledge.
Right.
Um, until I landed working at Intel. Been there for about 19 years now,
Hmm.
and then yeah, started really kind of getting more into firearms when I started. I stumbled upon competitive shooting, and
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute, that's a thing. So I got into it, started looking a lot more into it, and it kind of like fueled my passion of being competitive shooting. And then kind of started going like, you know what, I want to. I started taking a lot of classes and seeing there's a little bit of deficiencies in between stuff, and I was like, you know what, I want to be an instructor. I kind of want to see if I can help bridge that gap, and that's kind
Hmm.
of where I'm at now. With Guardian and meeting Josh and meeting you in
Yeah.
that awesome class, and yeah, I mean, and here we are.
There you
Here we
go.
are on the comfy sofas. Love it.
Um, so, kind of along with that, because you were so I know that you were part of the 501st, and so
Mandalorian Mercs. Yep.
okay,
Yep.
Mandalorian works. Okay, so for people who don't understand what that is, could you kind of give a little
Oh,
bit of background?
oh, of course. So there's for the Star Wars community, there's kind of like there's a bunch of costume clubs that are actually recognized by the Lucasfilm. Well, used to be Lucasfilm, now Disney.
Hmm.
You have obviously the big one, the 501st. Those are all the
Right.
the bad guys doing good. Love
Mhm.
those guys. Worked with them a lot. Amazing folks, but they're the guys that their costumes, their cosplays are they're legit. They're movie quality. I
Mhm.
mean, but when you start going through the process of getting approved for 501st, it's rigorous. It's
Yeah.
rigorous because it's um, you pretty much have to be ready, and this has actually happened a bunch to like if Lucas goes or Disney goes, hey, we need 30 stormtroopers, which actually happened for the Mandalorian for
Right.
that scene with oh my god, Giancarlo with all those
Hmm.
stormtroopers behind him.
Right.
Those are 501st members.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they call them, and that's why they have to be movie quality because they can go, hey, we need you for this project, and then you're on screen.
Hmm.
So all their stuff is super legit. And then you have those are the bad guys, and then you have the Rebel Legion, and those are all the good guys.
Hmm.
So it's all the Jedi, the Rebel Alliance, stuff like that, the pilot. So that's all them, and then there's us, the Mercs, and we're pretty much we're based on the Mandalorian background, Boba Fett, Django, but I mean that's just a tidbit of all of it.
Right.
We can go on a lot with the mercs,
Hmm.
but yeah, so they're kind of more of you have a basis of your suit, of
Hmm.
your armor, and then you kind of could run with it. Like we had to when I joined, um, you have to have a name, you have to have a background, a
Hmm.
story, and then your whole entire kit kind of ties everything together. So yeah, it's just part of the Star Wars costuming community. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a lot more. There's the Saber for or Saber Guild. I mean, it's pretty crazy, like how
Hmm.
big it is, and but it's all people doing a lot of great stuff, a lot of charity groups.
Hmm.
So actually an amazing amazing group of people. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a little bit about it. Pretty cool.
So, isn't one of the big things that they do that they visit like children's hospitals and things like that?
Yeah, we've gotten called to do a lot of children's hospital visits, which is a big passion of mine. I've been on, how many I've been on, like 6 or 7. Not only with the Mercs and the 501st, but with I was part of another group called the Justice League of Arizona. I was one of the Green Lanterns, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
I love it. But yeah, we do hospital visits. We do different charity stuff. We do like the Fiesta Bowl Parade. We're always in that one. We do different events that we're called for.
Hmm.
So, and they all have to be sanctioned by Disney now. So, we did do a lot of those, and it was really really cool getting to see a lot of these groups and a lot of these people
Hmm.
and all the good that they do. So it was really really neat.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So things like that. Not only do I love Star Wars,
Mhm.
but any of those sort of events where like they're appealing to children, and trying to like, especially like ones that are
Mhm.
suffering like for different illnesses and things like that,
Oh yeah.
giving them that sort of it's not just entertainment. It's almost like giving them a sense of hope,
Hmm.
which I think is really incredible. And it's the kind of stuff that they would never get to see otherwise,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I just think is amazing.
No, it is. I mean, and it ain't nothing like being a dad. Uh, my first one of my first ones when I saw it was actually with the Justice League, and I was a Green Lantern. We went to do a hospital visit. One of the I forgot what floor it was, one of the wards, but it's a lot of a terminal.
Hmm.
And we go visit the rooms, we talk with them, we hand out comic books and stuff like that, and just seeing their eyes light up. And one got me, and it still gets me to this day. Like every time I talk about it, freaking chokes me up, and then I go home and I kick my kids because they suck. No, that's but we went to on a visit, and damn, it was a little boy, maybe like 7 years old,
Hmm.
right? And we're all there. I mean, it's me, it's Green Lantern, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. I mean, it's the big guys.
Right,
And it had this the little kid, pick me out. He wanted just Green Lantern because Green Lantern was his favorite. And
right.
it's him and his mom, and then seeing his eyes light up when I walked in there, handed him a couple Lantern, comic books, and talked with him,
Hmm.
and just seeing, just oh, dude, it's like, oh boy, it
Yeah.
gets you, and it's just like, it's exactly that, seeing that hope and seeing that, that big smile on their face, and it's touching. It's touching. Every single one I've done, it's been, super emotional, super touching, and it's just giving them that, little bit of time that we're there to visit, and just seeing them having, a great stinking time to forget about everything else. It's badass. It's really cool, really really cool.
That's awesome.
And
Um, so is that something that you're still involved with? You still do those sorts of
I
events, or?
retired a couple years ago.
Hmm.
For a couple different. It wasn't because of the group. I love the group, and I actually had a couple of my buddies going like, actually, I had one of my buddies a couple months ago go, "Hey, dude, you have a kit?" I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of revamping it, just for myself." And he goes, "I don't know if I can talk about it, but he goes, we got Disney got a hold of us." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, they need 300 mercs or
Wow.
something." So, yeah, I mean, I've been slowly kind of working on some. The reason I got out of it is just because I did prop building too,
Hmm.
and everybody knows how it is, even with firearms, right?
Hmm.
If someone knows you're good at something, they're like,
Right.
like no, no, no. So it just got to the point where I just got kind of tired of it. And I'm like, all right,
Right.
I need to take a little break and kind of um, step away from it. But yeah, I still miss it to this day. 'Cause, I mean, every event I go to, I don't know what it is, but
Hmm.
every single event I go to, I always have hordes of children. Always want to hang out
Yeah,
with me, and I'm
I'll
like,
bet.
frick.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, I mean, I still have a scout trooper. Scout troopers are my favorite ever since a
Nice.
little kid, and then I have my Mando kit. I'm revamping. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but
Very
yeah,
cool.
not anymore. Not, but for right now, right now. Where I pokes the bear. Come on, Pete. I'm like,
As far as like the competition stuff, like what was sort of like your entry into that?
um, really, I think what it was, I just stumbled upon like a JJ Rakaza video,
Hmm.
and he started talking about it. I'm like, I was just like in it. I was mesmerized. I'm like, that is insane. How fast they shoot, how accurate they are, their movement, and I'm like, this is nuts.
Hmm.
So it kind of got me really starting looking into it, and how to get into it. Took the like a Rio Salado, you had to take a intro class.
Hmm.
So I took that and I started doing Tuesday night steals, and then
Hmm.
started rolling right into like USPSA matches. And it's like it's not only the and that's why I like to push people to do it. Not
Hmm.
push people. I won't say that. I kick them to do it.
Yeah.
But the community is great.
Hmm.
So many cool people. There's so much stuff you can learn for it. And if you want to push your skills, then it's something that you should do. Everybody should do a match, just
Hmm.
because sitting on a flat range, just doing the same thing. It's like that's great. Now throw movement in it,
Hmm.
throw multiple targets in it, throw
Right.
walls,
Right.
do it in front of 20, 30 people,
Right.
you know? And then there's all these strict rules behind it because come to find out, it's like competition shooting is one of the safest sports you can do.
Yeah.
Kidding me? Like it's
Hmm.
safer than even golf. It's like that's crazy. So
Hmm.
it's cool and it pushes you and it tests your skills. So that's what
Hmm.
I really liked about it was it really tests you. So
Hmm.
and you realize your deficiencies like that. You're like,
Yeah.
wow. Especially when you're shooting like the Valley is a hotbed for pro shooters. I mean, there's
Hmm.
so many good pro shooters here. I mean, multiple time world champions.
Right.
And then when you get to see them like for real,
Hmm.
you're like, wow, wow, they're fast,
Yeah.
fast. And you're like, but they're coolest people in the world.
Hmm.
You go pick their brain, like, what'd you do here? What'd you do there? How do you do this? And they're like, oh yeah, here you go, dude. Yeah, I'll walk you through it. And I'm like, it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of pushed me to it. And it was like just a rabbit hole right down it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I recommend it, but I don't.
Yeah, there you go. So I've actually done the Tuesday night sale a few times,
Mhm,
and you're right. It very quickly highlights your deficiencies and things that you need to address.
mhm.
Like even down to like your kit, like how your stuff is arranged and
Yep.
like what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
And you don't realize like little things like the retention on the holster that I had wasn't enough.
Mhm.
So as I started to like move like from one thing to the next, like my gun was literally popping out of the
Yeah.
holster. It's like that's not okay,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a
Um,
problem.
and then like just like you're saying, because you're transitioning from targets, you're not just hitting like one thing.
Mhm.
So you're trying to incorporate all of these things all at the same time and still hit the targets
Oh, yeah.
and do it in a time, that you're not just like, all right, we got all day
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the other thing that I would say though is that like everybody that I've met there, they're very relaxed. They're very cool. They're not like super uptight.
Mhm.
They're not like nitpicking everything you do.
Yeah.
If anything, they're saying, "Hey, by the way, you could do this a little
Yeah.
different, or you could do."
Yeah.
They're actually helping.
100%. Yeah, and they'll pull you aside and be like, "Hey, here's some tips." And you're like, as long as you're receptive to it, they're totally down to help you out.
Mhm.
I'm freaking that's so cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, yeah, yeah, it's like, "Hey, why don't you do this?" Or here's some gear you could look at. And you're like, "Cool, let's do it.
Right.
Right on."
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I really do.
And so, as much as I think it's important for people to get additional training
Mhm.
if they're going to have a firearm, especially if they're going to carry it on them, um, I would never say it needs to be mandated. But I do think that they should take different courses, but
Mhm.
they should definitely do that sort of training because, like I said, it puts you under a different type of stress
Mhm.
and it allows you to improve at a far better rate than just standing on a fixed range.
Oh,
You know?
100%. Yeah. And just the rules behind it, it gives you, I mean, there's all these rules, the 180 and all this other, but when you look at like the realities of it, it's like, oh, that's when you can incorporate that into
Hmm.
your everyday carry, or if a situation pops up, it's like, that's pretty cool. So
Right.
yeah, 'cause I'm the same way. I'm like, if you're going to own a firearm, get trained,
Yeah.
get good training. But then, yeah, go shoot a competition. I have a buddy of mine who says, he goes, hey, slap on your Vans and go inside the waistband, go shoot a match.
Right.
I'm like, yeah. In the USPSA now, I mean, that's you could it's concealed. You could do concealed carry. So it's pretty cool. So yeah,
So I know less about that. What would you say kind of like are the differences?
between so yeah, you have like the USPSA, you had the IDPA, you have like the PCSL. They're just different like disciplines. So like I do believe like the IDPA, you have to wear like a vest, so it's kind of pseudo concealed, and you have like doors you got to open. You have different
Oh wow.
stuff. Yeah, you got to like. There's just a match in Rio, and one of the stages was you had to lay down on the bed, and then when the buzzer goes off, you got to get up and shoot. Or
Right.
one was like, oh, you're holding a rake. Now you got to drop the rake, and then you run the course. So there's a little bit of differences, but it's pretty much like the layouts and stuff is all the same.
Hmm.
PCSL is actually something new, and that's a rifle and pistol,
Hmm.
and that's pretty neat. So that's more of taking a culmination of your skills and really pushing because you're not only doing like the close range stuff with like USPSA and IDPA,
Hmm.
but then you're doing rifle. You're shooting out to 300, 400 yards,
Wow.
and then bringing it in and shooting a quarters,
Right.
and then switching to a pistol and then shooting. It's
Hmm.
pretty cool. So there's a bunch of different little things, different leagues you could do. So each
Nice.
one has something a little bit different. So it's just
Right.
finding which one you like to do.
Hmm.
So
So I know that for some people, at least some of that is the barrier to entry is maybe getting over the fear of like actually having to do this in front of other people.
Hmm.
But another consideration might just be like the financial part of it, because when you're doing those sort of competitions and things like that, you're having to pay fees and things for it, right?
Um, it's actually not too much. It's
Yeah.
not much at all. No, no, not at all. I mean, I think what was my last one I just did? It was like $20.
Okay.
So I mean, the most financial thing about it is your ammo,
Right.
But to actually join and go do a match, it's fairly cheap.
Hmm.
It's fairly cheap. And honestly, you can go with whatever rig you have,
Right.
so there's not a whole, there's some rules, but I mean, there's a lot of rules, but when it's like carrying stuff like that, I mean, if you do like the Tuesday night stills, you could pretty much go with what you got right now and
Right.
you're good.
Hmm.
Actually, a great event, is Murphy's Outdoors. Um, and he does, they call it the, Outlaw USPSA. So there's rules to it, but it's kind of a little more free flowing.
Right.
And if it's something that you kind of want to get into,
Hmm.
great way to start out. Really good people. It's all local community people, and they're all super chill. And it's kind of a little more relaxed USPSA,
Hmm.
and that you kind of get your tippy toes wet in there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So he does a really good job doing that. But
Hmm.
there's stuff all over the valley, and it's actually not too expensive. Each match you're looking at maybe 200 rounds, if that,
Hmm.
150, 200 rounds.
Right.
So it's not
Yeah, it's
too
not an
bad.
extreme kind of thing.
I don't know. No.
That was another thing because I moved here from Washington. The gun culture here is considerably different than there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so just the how big the community is here
Hmm.
is really amazing. How many of those different kinds of events and things that you have access to are incredible.
Hmm.
Um, so I again, I encourage everybody go get some training, go practice, and do competitions. Those sorts of things, because it's so beneficial
Yeah,
for
it
you.
is. Yeah.
And like you're saying, it's ultimately it's not that expensive, not compared to a lot of other things you could be
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
like there's so many places I know, and that's something that I want to do, like with the Guardian, with doing the intro to competition, because
Hmm.
for me joining in, even like I talked to a bunch of my friends who are competitive shooters.
Hmm.
They said when they first started shooting competitive, there's no real way of how to do it. You're really
Right.
not, even like the class Rio. It's a really good class. It kind of baby step you into how to do it, but then there's still so much more you got to learn.
Hmm.
So that's why with Josh and Guardy, I want to do an intro one, because I want to. There's so much stuff in between, like how do you find matches? How do you sign up for matches? How do you see if what the rules are? What can you carry? Getting to that's something I never. When you get to a match, there's a
Hmm.
certain protocol you got to do.
Right.
There's even certain protocols you got to do when when you're shooting a match. So that's all stuff that wasn't really like explained.
Hmm.
That for me, it's like, hey, if someone wants to do it, hey, let's take this class, with Guardian Training and Consulting. Uh,
Right.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But it's take this really easy intro class where it's like we're gonna kind of baby step you into how to find that match and kind of relieve a lot of that anxiety you have when you get to a
Hmm.
match, because it is. I mean, you're going. There's tons of people, usually 20 people per bay. This isn't real, right? So you have 4 bays, 20 people per bay. That's what my math is horrible. That's 180 people, right?
But there
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
they're around there. So, but I mean, there's a lot of people, and
Hmm.
they're all different people shooting the
Yeah.
PCCs or race guns, stuff like that.
Right.
So it is very intimidating,
Hmm.
and so being able to kind of like ease that
Hmm.
tension and go like, oh, now I know what to do when I get there. It's not
Right.
too bad. So that's something that I really want to bridge a gap, because there's a lot of people that, I mean, I'm pretty sure the same thing with you. When you first shot yours, you're like, what am I doing here?
Right.
What do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do. So,
Yeah. Another thing that I'll say about that is not only is the community itself very kind of open and welcoming,
mhm.
you know, you'll find people there that you would never think of as shooters, right?
Yeah.
I've seen some like really gray hair old men, pretty heavy set guys, that can shoot faster with a revolver than most people can with semi-auto.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. It's
Hmm.
like, fuck, don't break into that guy's
Yeah,
house, you
exactly. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Like, don't mess with that old man.
Yeah.
It's Clint Eastwood right there. But yeah,
Uh,
no, same thing. When I first saw my first dude watch shooting a revolver, I was like, oh, okay. I watched him like, shit.
yeah.
I'm like, he is so freaking fast.
Right.
Dang. So yeah, there is. And even from the little petite, woman, you're like,
Hmm.
really? And she's shooting a race gun, like son of a, and fast. And you're like, oh, all right. All
Right.
right. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done. Yeah, it's the variety of people that get there. Yeah, so they say you said the old man who just hobbled out of the golf cart and then goes up there, shoots lights out. You're like, all right,
All right
all right,
then.
all right.
Yeah.
I see what we're doing here.
Um, I was just talking, the last guest that I had on the show, his name was Mark Spicer.
Hmm.
He is he was a former sniper. He still teaches that sort of thing. Part of the conversation that we had was, the number of illegal people that are coming into this country,
Hmm.
and just the sheer volume of like military age males here,
Hmm.
and the threat that they possess or that they pose rather. And he pointed out that like, unlike a lot of other places, Britain in particular, you know, if they decided that they wanted to like start doing whatever they're going to do, they're going to have a fight on every corner,
Hmm.
because this isn't the UK. We have guns here,
Hmm.
and if they start whatever they're going to do, whatever terrorist activity they're going to encounter far more resistance purely because we have the guns that we have in this
Hmm.
country, regardless of how hard the government keeps trying to take them away from us, we still have them.
100%.
And, when it comes right down to it, if I I try not to draw this comparison too much, but I can't help thinking of like Red Dawn,
Oh,
you know? Yeah,
all the time I say, like, oh, you want Red Dawn? That's how we get Red Dawn.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you've got that many people that are, obviously here to cause harm, you know, if and when that happens, this isn't going to be like Red Dawn where most people just like get rounded up and stuck in a camp.
Hmm.
There's going to be a significant number of people that like are prepared.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why we do the things that we do,
Yep. 100%.
So, which is why I'm glad that the community here is so
Hmm.
big, that there are so
Hmm.
many different options. And again, not to continue plugging Josh's company, but you can't help it. Josh has an amazing company, and he
Hmm.
has a a very talented group of people that he's brought together uh, to teach all manner of things. So everything from the kind of the class that you're
Hmm.
suggesting to the simulator class, the speed shooting at the speed of efficiency, um, like the stop to bleed classes they do.
Hmm.
So it's not just the shooting stuff. I mean, but he has a wealth of knowledge, and the way that he presents it makes it easy for people to digest
Hmm.
and learn. And he's doing all the right things to make that company more successful.
Yeah,
So
100%. Because I mean, that's just it. And I love it that I think Josh said it, but it's like, and not only learn how to shoot, but you better learn how to plug,
right,
right? So
yeah,
you got to know both. I love the fact that yeah, both of them, he both does it. But on your point of that, on the illegals coming in, it's been happening for years,
hmm
years, and we actually when I worked for Northrop Grumman, we worked on 100 UAVs. We did um, a contract with the border patrol because it was
hmm
us and the Global Hawk, and I actually got to go out, and sit in the command center for the UAVs and watch
wow,
them, and we would follow them, and I never known because you think oh okay onesie twosies never really thought about it until I sat there with the UAV pilot and we had a border patrol agent in there and we're walking them through in the middle of the night.
hmm
Midnight, it's dark. I mean, it's desert. It is
hmm
dark.
right,
And they're walking them through the thermals of the UAV. And then something that looks like a tree. And I'm like, why are they having to walk towards that tree? It's like two border patrol agents. And all of a sudden all you see is like cockroaches. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? He
wow,
goes, yeah, this is a light night. And he goes, and that's when I found out when he goes, oh yeah. And I'm like, so those are all, illegals from Mexico. He goes, oh dude. He goes, they're OTMs. I'm like, what are you talking about OTMs? He goes, they're other than Mexican. I'm like, what? He goes, oh yeah, they're from other countries. He goes, the amount of
right,
Mexicans that come over is so few, right?
hmm
And I'm like, that's when I realized, like, oh man, there's just people coming in this country. It's just like we're talking about Fort Huachuca,
hmm
big intelligence base. We actually had one night uh, 9 illegals just walking down the middle on Fort Huachuca.
really,
I was
wow,
like, holy, yeah. I'm like, it's mind-boggling,
huh,
just the sheer amount, and it is.
hmm
It's all fighting age males, and
right,
that's where it's super, like you're saying, it's super important.
hmm
It's not only for your safety, but your family's safety.
right,
You have to 100% like you have to protect them,
hmm
and get that training out there
hmm
because you don't want to be, like you're saying. Red Dawn, when the Russian Chinese come down out of the sky, you don't want to
Right.
be that one going like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Let me call the cops.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. We've already seen where was it? The Midwest, all their 911 centers went down.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, well, see, cyber attack, you're done.
Right.
So, but yeah, you want to protect yourself and get the training.
Hmm.
Definitely. And that the same thing. Yeah, Josh, uh, he just makes the classes so much fun to where like we were talking about before, where it's so easily digestible
Right.
and it's just fun. Guardian training consulting. You
No.
know, um, but yeah, get out there,
Yeah.
get that training because you
Yeah.
you never know.
Hmm.
You never know. I'd rather be prepared than not.
So you are, I think, the fourth person,
Mhm.
not counting Josh and Karen, that have been on the podcast that are like associated with that,
Mhm.
right? And so I want to make this very clear that we're not talking about this just because we work with Josh or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I've taken a number of different training classes. Um, I've taken them ones from much bigger companies with bigger
Mhm,
names, which
mhm.
I'm not going to mention,
Yeah.
that run the classes nowhere near the same level of information.
Ye
The information transfer
yeah.
is not as good. The just the things that they're teaching are just really kind of on a basic level.
Mhm,
Um, but more than that, the people that are teaching the classes are so wooden and
mhm,
just lacking character.
mhm.
They don't make you feel like you're supposed to be there,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? So, I mean, there's a lot to be said for not only what Guardian is doing, but the way that they do it,
yeah,
you know? So, and this is why I kind of always come back to this. Not, again, not just because you're part of that group,
yeah.
because I really do believe that they have a great organization. And if you ever have a chance to take a class from Josh, you should definitely do that.
Training and consulting.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, it's not only that, but like we were talking about before, I mean, the info dump you get.
Hmm.
For me, I love it. I love that stuff. Give me
Right.
all that information on red dots. Like when you sent me the presentation, I'm like, I geeked out. I'm like, oh yes, buddy.
Right.
Um, but it's not only that, but it's like the same thing you're saying. I'm taking a bunch of classes, but you go out there, you do flat range, you run these drills.
Hmm.
Cool. What
Right.
else? With when when Josh does it, he gives you all this information you got to keep, so you can go
Hmm.
back to it if you need to.
Right.
But then even in the classes, you're taught like, hey, when you're training, you do this.
Hmm.
Hey, dry fire. That's one thing too. Like I always like to push is dry fire.
Hmm.
I'm like, there's so much stuff you can learn to train with dry fire. It's like teach them dry fire because now you give them something to go home to and continue to work on,
Hmm.
and it just like you're saying, now you've given them something to work on. Now they want to come back and go, yeah, cool. Now I want to fine tune these skills. So
Hmm.
I'm the same way. I love the fact that the way he's doing things is freaking. And then yeah, the crew, oh,
Right.
that's a team. That's a team
Yeah.
right there. So
So, and the other thing that I'll say, and this is the thing that people won't see,
mm,
not only is he an excellent trainer, like for the people that are taking the classes,
mm,
but he has us go through so much of our own training. He's constantly pushing us to be better
mm,
and to learn more than an average person. Okay. So not only are we taking the classes ourselves, but like we're doing our own individual training,
mm,
you know. So the whole what's the new program? The uh Prevail, that's it.
prevail. Oh yeah.
Um, so
Oh
that
God, yeah,
that
prevail.
system, which can be downright brutal,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's the standard he wants us to be able to meet,
Oh,
you
100%.
know,
Yeah.
because it's important. It's not enough for us to like be able to stand back and point fingers and make suggestions for other people. We have to actually know what the hell we're doing
Hmm.
and at a level that is far superior than the people that we're training.
Yeah.
Because if we can't attain that level, then we're just taking information and handing it to somebody else. We're not actually capable of demonstrating what we should be, you know?
Yeah. And you
And
become
so,
the YouTube regurgitator.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, he pushes us to be better
Hmm.
for ourselves as instructors and as people,
Hmm.
which I think is incredible.
And just to clear up, not really push us. No, it's just saying. It's saying. I fell down the stairs.
Right.
No, but I agree. Yeah, I mean, and having the quarterly, get-togethers and
Mhm.
training, I'm like, I love that. I love that the fact that it's so stinking organized.
Mhm.
The lesson plans. I mean, I love that stuff.
Right.
It's like it doesn't matter, and it's not like it doesn't matter if you take a shooting at the speed efficiency class from you or from me or from Josh.
Mhm.
It's the same.
Right.
It's the same lesson plan. It's the same stuff. I mean, obviously, it's gonna be a little bit different because we're not as good looking. That beard's freaking on point. I mean, wow. But it's we try.
We're not all Harvey Specter
Yeah,
lookalike.
exactly, yeah, not a 1950 detective. I'm like, son of a, what are you doing? But yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
that's what I love about it. No matter what, you're getting the same training because we're all brought up to that level, and that yeah,
Right.
he pushes all of us to do it.
Mhm.
It kind of reminds me of is it's funny. I was talking to my son about this. It's like the Michael Jordan, right? The Michael Jordan of those Bulls.
Mhm.
He's a great player, but the one thing that made him great was he brought everybody on that team up to his level.
Right.
And I think that's what Josh is doing. He wants everybody up to that level so we all succeed. But then the team already at, Guardian Training Consulting does it's just, it pushes us and we just,
Right.
so yeah.
There you go. Kind of on a different note. So you have kids.
Yes.
I'm guessing that you've spent at least some time teaching them
Oh,
firearms,
100%. Yep.
that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, what was the age that you kind of like started them at, and how did you sort of move through that progression?
For me, it's been a couple of years. So I started them out, oh boy, how old are they now? Where's my wife at? When I need her. Yeah. No, I started about like 12, 11,
Okay.
12 years old.
Hmm.
A little bit before that, kind of just the firearm safety stuff. But actually taking them out to the range and shooting is about like about 11, 12 years old,
Hmm.
Um, and then it just went from pretty much before we went out is understanding the firearms, firearm safety, not to play with it, all the basic stuff, and teaching them that type of stuff. And yeah, then took them to the range and started teaching them more of the safety on the range, how to
Hmm.
shoot, breathing, grip, pretty much like a basic pistol course or a basic rifle course. And it just went from there. Now
Hmm.
it's like anytime I go, like right now, a couple months ago, I got a 6.5 Creedmoor. So
Hmm.
me and the oldest, we went out and to go zeroed in and went to Rio, and it goes out to about 300. And seeing his eyes light up hitting that 200 steel,
Right.
then hitting that 300 steel, he looked at me going like, yeah, this is amazing. I go,
Right.
yeah. He still has the 6.5 shell, with 200 on it, 300.
Hmm.
So it's just easing him into it. But first, definitely, it's like you start out with the safety. Don't go out there and start shooting. You want him to understand the safety behind it and the do's and the don'ts, and then you go progress to it. And that's kind of like how I did it.
Hmm.
Making sure they understood the consequences behind it, the safety, and all that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
What's kind of like the minimum age to do like competition shooting?
Um, Really, there's none. I mean, that's obviously you got to be, if you competent with it. I
Hmm.
I want to say it was a couple of years ago. One of the national champions was a 15-year-old girl.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So there's a lot of young kids shooting. I think that I just saw one that just shot um, Rio Spring Steel. I think she's 9, 10, maybe
Hmm.
something around there, around that age. So there's whenever they start kind of getting proficient, they have them shoot it.
Right.
So I'm trying with my boys, but they rather sit at home and play video games,
Yeah. Right.
like in teenagers. But yeah, there's no really kind of minimal age. So when you get to the point where they feel confident in their shooting,
Hmm.
um, sign them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, and then we had talked earlier also because you were in the military.
Mhm.
You joined the Marines.
Yes,
How old were you when you joined?
17.
17?
Yep, the
Okay,
delayed entry program.
there you go.
Yeah, buddy.
Um, how would you describe like kind of your overall experience like in the military?
Mine, I loved it. Honestly, I mean, I worked aviation. I joined right at the end of the Gulf War,
Hmm.
all the way up to right at the beginning of GWAT. But I loved it. Like we were just talking about, I got to see what 5, 6 different countries before I was 22.
Hmm.
You know, so that was freaking amazing. Got to see a lot of the country, a lot of the world. Um, Being aviation, I worked on F-18s,
Hmm.
so we do joint ventures. So being able to see, two of my favorite aircraft ever, the F-4 Phantom and
Nice.
what was it, the F-14 Tomcat?
Right.
Seeing those up close, it was awesome. It was awesome. I had a great time. You meet some amazing people, and the same thing. You meet some amazing people, then you meet some cunts.
Right.
So, uh, so I mean,
Mhm.
it's a variety of people, and just a variety of people. Period. You mean? I
Right.
mean, and then they're all your brothers and sisters.
Hmm.
So it's I really enjoyed it. Um, the job for me wasn't for me. I by the time I was done, the same thing. I was like, I don't want to go.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I recommend it. I think Honestly, a lot of other countries got it right where when you graduate, you have two choices:
Mhm.
college, military.
Right,
Some new countries go like, no, you do your 2 years first, or you do have to do your 2 years, at some time.
right.
I think everybody should join. At least do a couple years.
I agree.
Because it's a rude awakening, especially
Yes.
for a lot of these younger kids. Even though nowadays boot camp, oh my god. Um, but it is it makes you grow up really really quick. It makes you take responsibility for a lot of your actions. It pushes you to be a better person.
Mhm.
To really work in diversity. With
Mhm.
different people. So I recommend it. I 100% recommend. Like, but my boys are joining
Right.
only because their grades suck. But yeah, I want to go to college.
Yeah.
Military. So, but yeah, they both want to join, and plus, there's nothing more fulfilling than serving your country. You
Right.
know, being there and defending the red, white, and blue.
Mhm.
I love it.
I think that everybody should join the military for at least 2 years,
Hmm.
probably more than that.
Yeah.
But I think partially because, and we talked about this before we started recording, that there's an experience that you're going to get in basic training that you're not going to get anywhere else,
Yeah.
right? So I remember being 17 years old and I remember crawling through the mud under barbed wire fence, like, laid across,
Hmm.
so we're crawling underneath this barbed wire and they're live firing M60s
Hmm.
overhead, you know? Um, at night. It was an incredible experience. And again, where else are you going to
Yeah.
get that?
Yeah.
You know, uh, Dealing with drill sergeants is its own experience, right?
Yeah.
Even aside from all of the training and things you're
Arms
getting,
instructors.
just dealing with them,
Yeah.
and learning to think quickly, to respond and do what you're supposed to be doing under the pressure of somebody who
Hmm.
is right in your grill all the time. The closest representation I can think of is Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
That guy did an
Yeah. Marine.
amazing job,
Oh my God.
you know. Uh,
Oh, he was a Marine too, though.
yeah,
Like for real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I just, like I said, I think that's an important thing.
Hmm.
It's one thing to graduate and then go to college and then get a job, and you just kind of move into the workforce, right? You're going to have different types of experiences, but not like in the military, you know. Plus, which you are serving your country. You're actually you have skin in the game at that point. It's like, you're on some level you're earning the rights and privileges that we have for being a citizen in this country,
Hmm.
rather than just sitting back and letting somebody else do all the work and you benefiting from it. It's
Hmm.
like,
And I also think that it also gives you a different perspective of our freedoms.
mhm,
Joining and seeing the different stuff and going to different countries. For me, it
yeah,
was like going to different countries and seeing how a lot of these people live, and you're like, holy crap, we got it good. We
right,
got it really good.
yeah,
So you have a different appreciation for everything we got, and that's like when people go like, well, why are you so up in gun laws and gun registry? And it's like, dude, because have you been to different countries? I've been to Australia,
yeah,
and it's like the stuff that they push you for, and when they want this stuff, it's like no,
hmm,
no, I don't think so. So it makes you appreciate for every single freedom we have in this country.
hmm,
It does give you a different perspective on it.
right.
So yeah,
The other part of that, though, is that, going through the stress of doing your training and that sort of thing, and realizing that's just the beginning. That's the basic training.
yeah, yeah.
This is not even actual war.
Hmm.
And think of all the people that have gone to war, across history to protect this country and the things that they had to survive through. It's like, this is the minimum that you could do,
Yeah.
you know, and understand that what they did is far worse than what you're having to deal with. And if you
Hmm.
can't handle this, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. I
You
mean,
know?
and they're still suffering. I mean, a
Hmm.
lot of veterans are still out there and they're still suffering to this day. And it breaks my heart every single time. It's uh, the help that's needed out there. How we get as veterans get treated. It's just everybody goes, oh, like, oh, you're a veteran, you get this discount, you get your free meal at Applebee's. It's like, yeah, but guess what? But how much it sucks, like suffering from a TBI and you're in the middle of a shower and you forget if you wash your hair, or or multiple, suffering from PTS. Like I can't fly in a plane. I get such bad anxiety. It's the silent sufferers that need
Hmm.
the help, and you just don't realize, like, going through that, like
Right.
how bad it is. So
one of the things that I have a hard time with is the way, just like you're saying, that veterans are treated after they've exited the military,
Hmm.
because they're treated almost as a disposable commodity. The government is happy to like spend all kinds of time and effort and money to train individuals to do jobs, right, that don't have any real function in
Hmm.
normal
Yeah.
society, right? And then when they come out, rather than helping them kind of make a transition, they just say, well, here you go,
Bye.
you
Bye
know,
bye. Yeah. No, it is. It sucks. And
you know.
the I mean, I think, hearing a lot of people that have gotten out recently, I mean, it has gotten better. But I mean, we know from years ago,
Hmm.
at the, to our age, we're pretty damn old. When you pull your back getting out of bed, it's like, oh, I'm old. Um, but a lot of veterans don't get that help. They
Right.
don't get that transition, and that's the hardest part about it. A lot of veterans have issues transitioning over
Hmm.
because, like you're saying, I mean, it's in the military, it's a totally different freaking monster.
Right.
It's such a tight knit community, and tight group. And then when you're just thrust and you lose all that, you lose that or that brotherhood, that sense of community, and you're just thrust out, and they don't care.
Right.
You don't get no resources.
Hmm.
It's hard. Something we just talked about. Trying to get your disability stuff, your VA disability ratings.
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't know about it till years after I got out. You just don't know. No one ever tells you.
Hmm.
So it sucks that they do that. They spend, like you're saying, they spend all this money on you to get this training, it's highly specialized training on top of that too.
Right.
And then after your time's done, like, all right,
Right.
bye. You know.
Well, yeah. So imagine somebody who is, attained rank, is able to lead soldiers into battle, is in charge of multi-million dollar equipment, and when
Mhm.
they get out, they're given nothing.
Nothing.
You know, it's like now you're just supposed to go out and join the workforce and not get any kind of recognition for any of the things. And not that they don't get recognized,
Mhm.
but in the actual job force, you're applying for a job that looks great on a resume, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything to most people,
Yeah.
especially people who have never been in the military.
Mhm.
And I think that that's not okay.
No, no, I agree. And for a lot of companies that hire, oh, we hire veterans. It's like, yeah, you hire them because it's a tax break. It's a tax break for that company.
Right.
So, um, yeah, I mean, your resume might like, but it doesn't transcribe to a lot of the jobs just do not transcribe out to the real
Right.
world. A lot of them.
Hmm.
So it's hard, when you get out and you're like, oh yeah, like we're saying, before, what do I do with my hands? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just sucks that there's a lot of vets out there, veterans who are suffering,
Hmm.
and we see it on the news all the time. Oh, hey, here's 65 billion to here,
Yeah.
but that could end veteran homelessness, right?
Right.
Like I could help out a lot, not only for veterans but for citizens. Period.
Hmm.
But yeah, veterans are always kind of thrown to the side, and
Right.
it just sucks that there's a lot of smaller communities that are doing their damnedest to
Hmm.
push the help, and
Yeah.
it's just they get knocked down like we were talking about before. They would rather just feed you those pharmaceuticals all day long,
Hmm.
baby. But
Yeah.
then it's like, hey, this stuff actually works. Nah, nah, here, take these. And you're like, oh, all right, cool.
Right.
So it does suck. It just I wish, I really wish it would be like a revamp almost and kind of help out a lot more, helping with the transition. Because I mean, a week or two class after you've done like 15 years. All right, bye. Here you go. Like,
Right.
what am I
Hmm.
supposed to do? So it does. It
Right.
it freaking sucks.
So one thing, uh, I know that Jocko,
Hmm.
uh, the echelon front, that's a lot of what they focus on, is making sure that they help people that do have all of these skill sets that are capable of so much, find jobs and transition into
Hmm.
things that are leadership positions, because there's no way that you could be doing this at that level in those sorts of environments and then come back to the civilian world rather,
Hmm.
and not still be capable of leadership,
Yeah.
so recognizing that and being able to help people, I think, is incredible, and it would be wonderful if we had more organizations like that,
Yeah.
you know, to help.
Well, I think the problem is too is like we get a lot of organizations that actually are doing good.
Hmm.
Then you got a lot that are doing very bad, that
Hmm.
are doing uh, just doing it for the government funding, and that's the real shitty part is like trying to weed through the goods and the bad, of what organization is actually there to help veterans,
Right.
because a lot of them just they don't care. Literally, it's the same exact thing. You're a number, bud.
Hmm.
You're just on our tax write off. It's like,
Right.
all right, well, cool, thanks, bud. So,
Yeah. So, is your kind of overall goal to like work more uh in training and then kind of like become a trainer for trainers or
um, you know what? Right now, I just like training.
Mhm,
My whole thing is kind of I don't want to word it incorrectly, but you have all these highly specialized trainers out there, and we've all seen them. I mean, you
mhm,
go click on firearm stuff on YouTube, and you see them all. But they're geared a lot towards the tactical stuff. And
mhm,
don't get me wrong, it's freaking cool shit. Yeah, I would love to go do that. Like I definitely want to go do a barely training course out there, with G's in California.
right?
But you know, the thing that I see, another thing I see I was lacking is there's no real training for Johnny B. Citizen. You know what
Mhm,
I mean?
right.
So it's great, cool. You can learn all this tactical stuff and do barrel rolls and carry this or do that. But what the heck does that help out with for
Mhm,
the everyday citizen? So for me, is I want to get to that point where I could kind of just train in that aspect of it. So
right.
yeah, that's a big passion. I'm honestly doing like a train a trainer. I wouldn't mind it. I do that at work all the time. I'm a trainer out there, but I enjoy teaching classes. I
Right.
really enjoy it. It's fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um, the the classes that again that Guardian is teaching, I think are very important.
Hmm.
Uh, would love to see that company grow to a point where it's like the company.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I don't mean that in a way like so I know that there's like again some of the bigger companies out there, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. They get to a point where they're so big and they're so well known that it feels like they're so focused on their name and the products and things that they're selling that they've sort of lost the actual focus of
Hmm.
trying to help people. And granted, that's what the company is about, but it doesn't always feel that way.
Yeah.
And I would love to see Guardian get to that point where it's that recognizable, still never lose track of what their mission is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, on top of that too, is like you get all these larger companies that do that and they make
Hmm.
this big name for themselves. But then the problem is, and Josh kind of like touched on it a little bit, but
Hmm.
like then you go do their training, you're like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for his class. All right, cool. And you get their class and go like, who's this Yahoo? You know what I
Right,
mean? And then they're kind of
right,
like,
right.
oh, yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it's the same thing. And that's what I think like what Guardian's trying to do is like build up the Guardian name,
Mhm.
ish, but it's like it's not too centralized towards like one person.
Right.
So you
So there isn't just one person who's the face of the company,
exactly, and
and
even
then
though Josh, come on, that's chiseled, that's chiseled. But yeah, exactly. So like you go take a Guardian class.
Mhm.
You don't take a Josh class. You
Right.
take a Guardian class.
Hmm.
And but yeah, but every single person in there is still, and that's what I think what he does good is like every single person in there is hungry.
Right.
Every single person has a passion for it, and he's putting people. He's moving his little chess pieces around.
Hmm.
And putting people where they're passionate at, what they're good at. I'm
Right.
like, that's awesome.
Hmm.
So definitely the way he's setting everything up to where it's like, yeah, the name's gonna be great, but you're still gonna be passionate for what you're teaching.
Right.
So I think that's dope. I like it.
There you go.
It's very nice.
So a lot of times, well, we've kind of gotten away from this, but I
Mhm.
kind of want to get back to it. So like when we sort of wrap up the conversation, it's like I usually ask like, what's your best dad advice?
Oh, my best dad advice.
Yeah.
Um, good lord. uh, oh boy. Set of precedents. 18 year out. No, no.
Yeah.
I think it's just be a good person.
Right.
I think that's what a lot of people don't focus on. They kind of they're so worried about being a good dad, and this is like just be a stinking good person, dude.
Hmm.
You be an example for your children, for everybody else, being a good freaking person. And they'll follow, and
Hmm.
they'll be good people. You know, it doesn't. You could be a great father, right? And oh, I did, I raise my kids this, and I do this all the time with them. But you're an asshole, there, bud, right? So then they see that and they go like, okay. And I think
Right.
that's what a lot of problems now. It's like people just aren't. They're not being good people.
Hmm.
Like just saying hi to people, helping out people when they need,
Hmm.
being just a good damn person. So I think that's what it is when you become a father, just don't lose that. Don't
Right.
lose being a good person because that little one over there is looks up to you
Hmm.
and they're gonna follow in your footsteps. Hopefully not, but but they'll if
Yeah.
they'll follow in your footsteps, you're the example. So
Right.
that's like one thing, in the Marine Corps, you lead follow out of the way, lead by example,
Hmm.
and that's what you gotta do. So I think the best dad advice is just lead by example. Be
There
a
you
good
go.
damn person.
Right on.
Don't be a dick. But
Awesome. So one of the things, like when we were in the training class
mhm.
originally, we all had to get up and give like a little presentation about who we were. And when you started talking about Star Wars, it's like we are going to be best friends, right? And so that is a shared love. And the
Yeah.
same thing, like when I had Sergio on the show, like we talked about Star Wars.
Mhm.
Um, what is it about Star Wars that appeals to you the most? Like,
Oh
what
my
is it that
God.
you find the most? Mhm.
I think it's everything. I think it's the world building, the
Mhm.
characters. I
Yeah.
mean, the all. I mean, I remember as a kid, and it's crazy because like one of my very first memories is 84 being taken to the theater as a little, 5 years old, dude.
Right.
And I remember this. I remember exactly the theater because of the golf ball one in LA.
Hmm.
I remember the name of the theater. I think it's still a golf ball, but my aunt took me there and seeing Return of the Jedi.
Uh-huh.
Oh, dude, it got me like the hooks were in. I'm like, oh no.
Mhm.
But for me, it was just like all the story building behind it. I mean,
Mhm.
just the imagination, the characters, I mean, we can go on and on and on, but
Right.
it's the universe itself is so expansive and there's so much than
Right.
just the movies. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's what always like I talk to anybody I talk Star Wars about. They go, oh, I love the movies. Oh, do you? You seen Clone Wars? Wait, what? You've seen Rebels? Wait, whoa, whoa, what? I'm like, yeah. Have you read
Yeah.
the comics? Have you done, have you
Right.
looked at the books? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Mhm.
hello, my little friend, come with me.
Yeah. Right.
So it's the universe and the world behind it. It's just
Hmm.
I mean, what George Lucas did is,
Right.
dude, it's nuts. It's
Hmm.
absolutely nuts. So yeah, and I mean, I just love everything about it. I mean, it's
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
So I love the concept of the Force.
yeah.
And I don't know if George Lucas was intentionally doing this or not, but he managed to outline an idea that represents so many different ideas and theologies, all kind of wrapped into one idea,
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're not a totally religious person, you still get the concepts of
Yeah.
good and evil,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that we deal with those things, that's just part of life,
Yeah.
right? And that the universe as a whole has a type of energy that surrounds us and binds us and
Yeah.
you know you
Well,
know um
keep quiet.
yeah, exactly. um, but it's a real thing, but the
Yeah.
thing that I love absolutely most about Star Wars, and I saw episode 4 when it was in the theaters.
Mhm.
I was 7 years old and I saw it twice, which back then was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
You didn't go to the theaters like we do now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So to be able to go see that twice in the theater was absolutely amazing, and I
Mhm.
I just fell in love with it, right? I think that Luke Skywalker in particular in episode 4, the story of him is one of the greatest story arcs ever. He is the epitome of the hero's journey,
Mhm.
of where he starts and where he ends up,
Yep.
right? Um, and everything that he kind of learns along the way, every if you look at stories, like there are themes that repeat themselves over and over again, right? And they're there for a reason, because that's how we learn as people.
Mhm.
That's how our history has evolved. That's how we evolve as people. There is a journey that you have to go on, right? And I refer to it as the hero's journey
Mhm.
because I believe that you are the hero of your own story. If somebody were writing a book about your whole life, you're the main character.
It'd be graphic
You're the
novel.
hero.
Lots of pictures.
But you're the hero of your own
Yeah.
story, and we all are. whether we recognize that or not, we have you understand that everything that you do in your life is the decisions that you make. It's all of
Hmm.
the things that you learn along the way. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes life worth living,
Hmm.
right? And understanding that journey, you know, that's the difference between a good story and a bad story,
Yeah.
you know. So I really think that's super important, and that's why I love it so much.
Hmm. No, that's true though, because I mean, watching him just grow from where he's at, and every everything he had to go through, I mean, not only just Luke, I mean, everything that the growth from Han,
Hmm.
the growth, from Leia.
Hmm.
Not so much 3PO and RTD too. Those
Right.
freaking maniacs. But it's just their growth and how everything changed in the comedy of them. Even between from A New Hope to Empire to Return of the Jedi, and just seeing how every single one of those characters, just how they grew, how they changed, how
Hmm.
every decision, every battle, it just worn and it changed. But yeah, it's just watching, understanding that even in life right now, that everything you do,
Hmm.
good or bad, it's a path,
Right.
and it's growth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I 100% agree.
And
Except for
then,
droids,
yeah. And then kind of
stupid
taking that a
flankers.
step further, you've got the Clone Wars, or
Hmm.
not the Clone
Oh.
Wars, the animated series, which people
Hmm.
get turned off about because it's animated. But honestly, that is some of the best
Oh,
storytelling they have ever done.
amazing.
You take the whole, because that entire series happens between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith,
Hmm.
right? Um, Going from here to here without all of that context in between, you're missing so much.
Oh, so much.
It's like, how did Anakin get from here, where he's basically the good guy? He's got his moments where
Hmm.
he's, fucked up, but, how did he get from there to Darth Vader?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but if you watch the Clone Wars, you understand so much more about all of the shit that he went through, all of the, like the things that he learned and his experiences leading the troops, and
Hmm.
everything that along the way. Again, you have this hero's journey, and why that's important, and how it affects not just him, the whole
Hmm.
galaxy, because of his decisions.
But not only that, you learn so much about the Force, right? You learn so much more about the light side and the dark side. You learn so much more about the whole entire universe. And it's like
Mhm.
it's insane that people go like, "Oh, well, I don't want to watch it because," like you're saying, it's an animated kid show. What the hell it is?
Right,
It is for kids, but not so much.
right.
It's so good, and it's so much just amazing Star Wars information in there, and story arcs. I mean, like we were talking about before, the introduction of like the different Ahsoka,
Yeah.
get out of here, Rex.
Hmm.
I mean, there's fives. There's so many, Commander Cody. I could go on. Sorry,
Yeah.
but there's so many cool characters that are
Hmm.
introduced in there. So many cool story arcs that are introduced in there, that it's like it's essential. I like to call it Star Wars food.
Hmm.
It's like, if you love Star Wars, watch it.
Yeah.
You know, um, my kids watch it all the time. They go, "I don't like Star Wars," and I go on Netflix. I'm like, mm, mm. "Oh, I was watching that."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But it's like that, and even with like the stuff that keeps on coming out, Filoni's doing. I mean, the Rebels. If you can
Hmm.
get past the first season, which I recommend, just get past,
Right.
muddle through the first season. The rest of it's amazing, and
Yeah.
there's so much good stories behind that. That
Hmm.
explains a lot of what's going on with Ahsoka.
Right.
So, and yeah, it's so amazing. But that's something we talked about before, where like a lot of these characters were for example, Ahsoka show with Rosario Dawson, is she's been wanting to play that character
Right.
forever.
Hmm.
So when she got able to play that, and she's a giant geek, Star Wars geek,
Hmm.
that she just knocked it out the park.
Right.
But yeah, if you didn't watch, Clone Wars, you're
Right.
like, cool, all right, it's the chicks from Clerks. It's like, no, nah, she's one of the coolest characters out there.
Right.
But yeah, her story arc too, from
Hmm.
her Padawan to what she becomes.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Ahsoka Tano is one of my favorite characters ever, and I don't just mean in Star Wars. I mean her actual
Hmm.
character in any story that you can imagine. I love that character just so much. Everything about who she is, the development that she has, the decisions that she makes along the way, and like
Hmm.
why she does what she does. The fact that she is incredibly intelligent, she's dedicated to her what she believes is right,
Hmm.
you know, her sense of integrity, and willingness to always do what she believes is right. Those are amazing traits.
Yeah.
She's incredibly brave, you know.
You just go
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Just
it's
go
just
on. It's like
on and on,
it's amazing.
and like again, we were talking about this earlier too. Like you have Dave Filoni and you have
John Favreau.
John
Oh.
Favreau, who managed to take something as simple as the clones, right?
Mhm.
They're background characters when you're watching the movie. They're just there. They're kind of like stormtroopers. They're nameless, they're faceless. They don't. They're just there, right?
Yeah.
They're just numbers, right? To take those and turn them into to character actual characters that you care deeply about.
Yeah.
You know, when certain tragic events happen in like the story, it's like it's really upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, and to recognize like they have an entire journey of their own. You know, yes, they're clones, they're accelerated growth to become adults, but
Hmm.
then they have to learn all of life's
Yeah.
lessons from here,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and everything that kind of goes along with that. So they develop all of those traits. These guys are good, these guys are bad, these guys made wrong decisions, these guys were turned out to be traitors.
Yeah.
Whatever the thing was, it just there's so much there. How do you develop that much story in such a short period of time? That's incredible. Like,
Yeah. And on that too, though, I mean, it's like what they did during the Clone Wars for the Mandalorians.
yeah,
I mean, you start out with just Boba, maybe Django, you want to throw in there, and then you get the Clone Wars where now you wait, they have their own planet, they have a Duchess,
yeah,
there's different factions. What's going on here? There's
right.
just so much with it. Yeah, but like you're saying, they take these characters that minute parts, background characters, and all of a sudden there's this huge story arc behind it. And you're like,
Hmm.
oh my god,
Yeah.
and he did such a great job, such a
Hmm.
great job. Yeah, and then same thing. Like you started getting really, tied in with them. I'm like, dude, when they brought back Maul,
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god. I mean, that was one of the coolest, Sith that you
Hmm.
could have, and then he's so short lived.
Right.
And then you bring him back the way they did in Clone Wars. Oh my god, with spider legs on it.
Right.
So freaking cool. Give me death from here. But
Totally.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I like talking about these things because I like to highlight the idea that there are so many different lessons that you can learn, not just from Star Wars, but you could look at any like popular series. You can
hmm
look at like Harry Potter. Again, you have the hero's journey. And in a lot of ways it mirrors Luke Skywalker.
hmm
Like if you took beat for beat, like story points, there's a lot of
yeah,
similarity
yeah,
between the two, right? But you have like any number of other things. And for religious people, you have like the Bible, you have all these other
hmm
things. It's like the stories exist for a reason. Okay. That's how we learned like our evolution as humans before we learned how to write. We told stories. That's
hmm
how we, you know, and we still do.
hmm
Now it's just in different forms, right?
yeah,
We're still constantly telling these stories, and the stories typically are very similar. They're very much the same story over and over again, and they're repeated because there's an actual reason for it. There's a reason and a purpose and a lesson to be learned if you're paying attention,
hmm
you know? And so not only can you be seriously entertained because it's awesome, you know, lightsabers are the greatest invention ever,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but there's so much that you can take away from it if you're just willing to take the time
yeah,
to,
and just take it in
yeah,
and just like learn from it because yeah, it's the same thing. You could learn so much.
yeah,
It's so silly to say like, oh, you learn so much from a cartoon. Yes, you can. We learned a lot from Mr. Rogers, so you know
right,
what? We could get it from Clone Wars.
exactly.
So yeah, if you just take it in and kind of understand the story arc and the story that they're doing. But that's also like great storytelling, great
Mhm.
writers. I mean, you got to have
Right,
somebody that's passionate for it and wants to write it. You can create the stuff to where it's like you're passionate for it and you want to, and you start taking the lessons in and stuff like that because there's a lot out there. There's a lot
right.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that it's amazing. I think that everybody should watch it. I think that adults should watch it with their children.
Yeah, should be mandatory watching. I'm just
Mm,
saying.
there you
For my
go.
kids, it is. Like I
Yeah.
have the little Clockwork Orange eye things. You go watch. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah,
hear it in the downstairs. I'm like, Dad, you watch Star Wars again? I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, I am.
that's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. Weird.
So there you go.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking about that, let me grab this because I did do something for you. This is pretty cool.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, did you make these?
Yeah. Yeah. I just 3D printed them and then painted them.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll have to figure out if we can zoom in on that. But uh, what's the actual name of the?
Sabak?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think that's
I think
just
Sabak,
awesome.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Sabak. Yeah. I actually have that card game at home.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Play with the boys. I'm like, let's
Very
play.
cool. Nice.
That's how Han won the Millennium Falcon.
Right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you
Yeah.
very
No
much.
problem. No problem.
Greatly
Yeah. I thought you
appreciate
gotta
that.
dig it. Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
was like, I gotta bring
Hmm.
something.
Yep. Awesome.
But
Well,
yeah, it's like the same thing with his story arc. I mean, with Han, if
mhm.
you watch like the first movie, like seeing his beginnings and what turned him. It's the same thing, hero's journey.
Yeah,
What he went from a smuggler to who he was now.
right.
So,
It's an important lesson that people need to learn. And
hmm
again, in your own life, you're the hero. This is what you need to be
hmm
doing. Constantly be learning and evolving and getting to become the person you're meant to be.
yeah, don't
You
give
know,
up. Don't give up.
yeah,
Even when life, it gets hard
right,
and it's rough. There's a reason. There's a lesson to learn in every little part of that. And just don't ever just lay on your back and show your belly. Just keep on fighting. You always got to keep on fighting. You got to keep on growing. And
right.
looking at you like, oh, I guess it's a growing moment. You're like, yeah, cool, do it, let's roll. So,
There you go.
but it's definitely, yeah, keep on keeping on,
There
right?
you go. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you very much.
No,
It's
yeah,
great to have you
this
here.
is awesome. Yeah,
And
yeah, comfy. And then I got the bingo card, right? Did I get the bingo card?
there you
Yeah, buddy.
go. All right. Well, take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, you can now support the Non-Victim Nation by donating via listener support directly on Spotify. Remember, the story of your life is being written right now, and you are the hero.